Hey crew, we have the bonk hammer build today that a lot of you have asked for in the comments and in the Discord, so here it is, and it's pretty dang powerful. I did my own version of this because I know a lot of people have done videos in it already, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I really do think it's very strong the way I have it set up, and it's a little tweak on it. You're not using Classy Restoration, so you can have this throughout the rest of the seasons. We didn't use Classy Restoration mod from the artifact because I wanted to see how strong it really was, and this thing stands on its own at the top of builds in Destiny 2 as far as raw damage goes and survivability. The gameplay you're watching is me soloing one phasing gahlran here in the first encounter of the dungeon, and this is just on the normal mode, and I did this in like 4 minutes, so technically you could just farm this solo if you didn't have a team, but just wait till what you see next in the next clip. It's going to be in the master dungeon with 2 clanmates, and me and Rob had the same build on, and our third had ashen wakes, so they were losing out on a lot of damage, and look what we do to gahlran on master mode. So this is 1590 content. We one phase him, so again, another great farm strategy for the first encounter if you get a group of friends to do the master version. But the biggest thing I want you to take away from this build is that we never popped our barricades, so we never used Classy Restoration in the master mode or the normal mode. That's some insane survivability, and we have 3 different things feeding it. And since we don't use that mod, this build will be amazing for a long time down the road, and you can substitute other mods in that'll make it even better with maybe certain weapons you're using or different mods from the artifact, all kind of stuff. So people better not say Solar 3.0 isn't great after watching this video. Yes, I know the throwing hammer lost some damage overall, but now it gains some great survivability, and I honestly think it's better because more of the community can actually take advantage of this build and execute the gameplay loop while surviving on top of that. Thank you so much to all the members who have joined the channel, and I really appreciate it. That extra support towards me going full-time on YouTube means a lot, so thank you so much for that. It means the world to me. For those of you that would still like to join, just click the join button on the YouTube channel or the link in the description, and you get some pretty sweet perks, so if you choose to do so, then thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys all over in the member section. Now, doesn't this Titan look freaking sweet? Yeah, pretty cool, huh? I don't think it gets much better than that on Titan. I mean, man. Okay, so we're on the Titan, and I want to go over a few different things with you. First off is the healing. Now, I want you to understand this. With the throwing hammer, because it's a throwing hammer build, every time we pick up our hammer, we get cured. So we get a burst of healing. This instantly just heals us when we pick up our hammer, okay? So that's our first part of healing. Our second part is from Sol Invictus. Down there at the bottom, it says Sunspots apply Scorch and deal damage to targets inside. Entering a Sunspot applies Restoration. This is about like a 4 or 5 second restoration buff, and that's continuous healing whether you take damage or not, okay? So Cure is just a burst of healing one time when you pick up the hammer. Restoration is continuous healing. And then on top of that, we're running Well of Life as a mod. Now every time we pick up a solar well, we are getting Well of Life. This is also continuous healing. So it's basically like we're stacking 2 times restoration on this build, but instead it's 1 times restoration from Sol Invictus, and it's Well of Life on the left-hand side from picking up solar wells. But combine that with 100 resilience, and then also some resist mods like the Armor of the Dying Star and Concussive Dampener, we're getting all of our healing from those different sources instead of from the Classy Restoration mod. So that's where our healing comes from. And then I want you to understand the damage bonus. So the damage bonus comes from Roaring Flames. Final blows with solar abilities or ignitions increase the damage of your solar abilities stacks 3 times. This can stack up to 3 times, and it's a 20-second countdown timer. So you have a lot of time to do damage in a damage window, which is very nice, and you can get to the next target pretty easily with that. So that's our first damage multiplier, and then we also have SYNTHOCEPS here. So it's biotic enhancements, increased melee lunge range, improved melee and super damage when you're surrounded. You need 2 or 3 enemies next to you, biotic enhancements will pop up. It actually lasts for like 7 seconds, I think, so you get a good amount of time to use it. And basically, if you're doing damage to a boss or a high health target, you want to make sure the enemies that are around you, but that's perfectly fine because we can survive based off the healing that I already went over, right? So those are our damage buffs, and then you can also run Tractor Cannon with this. So what Tractor Cannon does is this weapon emits a powerful impulse that pushes enemies away, suppresses their abilities, and makes them more vulnerable to all incoming damage. So this is a debuff on your enemy. You debuff them and you just start chucking your hammer, as you can see in the gameplay. So that's basically what you want to do. And then on top of that, you could throw in a 1-2 punch shotgun if you have one in one of your primary or secondary slots, and go that route as well to take even more advantage. So you could tractor cannon and then switch to your 1-2 punch shotgun, hit them once with a shotgun, and then get off 2 or 3 hammers for some crazy damage. But I personally just like using the tractor cannon, using SYNTHOCEPS, and using Roaring Flames here from the subclass, because it's just a lot to be switching between all your different weapons and then getting your hammers off. This is just more like a relaxing gameplay style, and you just don't have to do that much, and it works all on its own. So for the rest of the subclass, I was using Fusion Grenade in the video, and then you want to use Rally Barricade because it comes back way quicker. It has a 10 more second less cooldown, right? So you want to use that. And then Soul Invictus does a bunch for us. Scorch targets, your abilities regenerate faster, and your super drains more slowly when standing in a sunspot. And then we already went over the Scorch and Restoration. For the fragments, I definitely would change these out when we get some of these new ones down here that are still locked. But for now, I have Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets, so we can scorch targets with our hammer, especially higher health targets. Or not our hammer, our grenade, I'm sorry. But with our grenade, we're scorching those targets, right? And we're getting more class ability to feed back into our class ability, just in case we do need to use Classy Restoration and you need it for this season. We have Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks against combatants makes you and nearby allies radiant. So now we're becoming radiant and getting a 25% damage buff against all other enemies, which is great. And we always have this up because we're always throwing our hammer. Ember of Solace. Radiant and restoration effects applied to you have increased duration. So now Radiant lasts longer, and Restoration from Soul Invictus lasts longer, which is just great. So that's what's bumping up to about 10 seconds. And then Ember of Ashes, you apply more Scorch stacks to targets just to burn more and hopefully get an Ignite off, or to burn more and get that class ability back. For your weapons, I highly suggest something with Incandescent. The reason is Incandescent here, defeating a target spreads Scorch to those nearby enemies. Well, also when you defeat a target with Incandescent on a Titan, it spawns sunspots, okay? It's the only way to spawn sunspots with a weapon now, which is just crazy. Maybe something like an exotic can do it, like Jotun or something with the CALUS. But for right now, this is the only legendary or, you know, the perk that can do it. And we actually got a CALUS mini tool drop today, and I got the Grave Robber and Incandescent roll that I wanted, which is just great. So when you throw your powered melee and it kills somebody, it reloads the weapon for us, and we can just unload and keep chaining, which is awesome. This was a roll I really wanted to get, and maybe I'll make a video on that soon for you guys. For the helmet, you want to have Hands On to get some bonus super energy, and you also want to have Fawn of Might. That way our solar weapon now does increased damage for 15 seconds because we're extending this with a different mod. But we have the 25% damage buff from Fawn of Might and from Radiant from the subclass, so now your weapon is doing 50% more damage, your solar weapon. On the gauntlets, I had Glaive of Dreams on just because we were in the dungeon, and so I was taking advantage of Unstable Essence. That technically is going to be gone, so you can use whatever else you want there. And then Melee Wellmaker to spawn a well when you throw your hammer and get a kill. And Focusing Strike grants class ability energy whenever you cause damage with a melee attack, just to feed back to that barricade. On our chest piece, Well of Life, we're double stacking Well of Life here on the boots as well. And that's going to push Well of Life up to 15-second cooldown, which is just great. And the way we're pushing that up is with Elemental Time Dilation on the Bond. Elemental Well mods that grant you time-limited benefits can now stack, increasing the duration of the effect for each copy of the mod you have equipped. And this does push just the one copy of Fawn of Might up to 15 seconds from 10 seconds. And it pushes Well of Life to 15 seconds as well. So now you have Roaring Flames lasting 20 seconds, Well of Life lasting 15 seconds, Restoration lasting 10 seconds, Fawn of Might lasting 15 seconds. So all the different things feeding in and lasting that long, which is just great. If you are running it this season, throw on Classy Restoration if you want. You might as well, because it's here, and you might as well take advantage of it. That's what I would do. So every time you pop your barricade, you get the ×2 restoration, just in case. And then also Utility Kickstart. When your class ability energy is fully expended, you gain cast ability. So when Restoration is gone, I'll change this not to feed into Barricade, but to feed into like the Grenade probably. So I'll have down there feeding into Grenade, and on the Gauntlets, I'll feed this into Grenade energy too. That way I'm working back towards Grenade, or maybe class ability if there is something going on with the class ability. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. That's basically the breakdown of the Bonk Titan. I really like the setup that I have going on with here because you don't need Classy Restoration, which is the whole point of my kind of take on this build, is because I want it to make sure it's good for every season, and this makes it happen. I hope to see you guys all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. And if you guys have questions, leave them down in the comments. And if you guys want to talk, I'll be over in the Discord if you want to talk to me over in the member section, all of you members. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.